Welcome to the afternoon meeting. Please stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin the meeting tonight, we have a delegation of wonderful students here who would like to make some presentations of yearbooks. So, Mrs. Schmeltz, if you'd like to lead the way.
Sure. Come on up, please. This is a fantastic group. I'm very fortunate to have such a large group of editors. So I'll introduce each of them, and then they would like to present the members of the board with a copy of last year's book. Last year's book sold out. We had 400 copies printed, and every single copy was sold. So this is Kelsey Schmieder. She is our wonderful copy editor, very talented in writing. This is Shayla Beagle. She is our publicity director, and she's working with new media. This is Elsie Mendoza, and Elsie is our photo editor. She's in charge of all of our fancy equipment, and she does a great job. This is Bobby Stiles. Bobby is our editor-in-chief.
All right.
And our business manager. So she's outstanding with the finances. This is Courtney Keller. Courtney's a freshman. She's involved in publicity as well, doing a great job with new media. This is Monica, and I'm going to butcher your last name, Renteria. Okay, and Haley Long. And Monica is a section editor. Haley is our managing editor. Both of these ladies are very talented. And then our last two tonight are Olivia Baca and Stephanie Boyle, and both of them are section editors for sports and academics and clubs, so they're excellent editors. So, great group.
Thank everyone who's come over to present these. They're always fantastic to look at, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, look through it. Contest season has begun, so we're looking forward to some good results on the book.
And good luck to
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 1.2, opening setting of the agenda. Any additions?
We do not have any additions. We'll have some things to talk about in the consent agenda.
Okay. Item 1.3, audience participation. Oh. All in favor, could I have a motion to?
So moved.
We have a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of setting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. All right, now, item 1.3, audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience besides who's already on the agenda that wants to talk about any of the agenda items? All right. Item 2, consent agenda.
Yes, a couple things that I would like to call to your attention. Mr. Hogan alerted me yesterday to a raffle that was that's on the agenda, and was concerned about it, and I understand his concern. We already have a lot of raffles that are done at ball games. So I've already written to the principals and the athletic director and to Ms. Duncan to remind them that while students under 18 can sell raffle tickets, that students under 18 cannot buy raffle tickets. And this will have to be monitored by the principals and the athletic directors, and at any time if we find anybody selling or buying that's under 18, we'll have to put it into the raffles. Also, I want to make sure that I know the high school has a gaming license for such things, and I want to make sure that had gone to Mr. Condon and he knew what was happening. So I think it's okay to do, and I would recommend that we give them permission tonight, but I would also recommend that Corey and Jim and Roy get together and meet and talk about the laws and make sure that we are abide to the law, maybe have some kind of a badge on it for the people selling that I cannot sell to anyone under the age of 18. Just wanted to bring that up. Jeff, do you think that'll satisfy what your concerns were?
Yeah, that's just like Mr. Tyree said, the law specifically states that an exception, there's a rule that no one under 18 can participate in any gaming activity, and a raffle is a gaming activity. There is a specific exception that allows anyone under 18 to sell raffle tickets. That's all they're allowed to do is sell them.
Now, if after talking with Ms. Duncan, if you don't feel like this can be monitored properly, then you have the ability to say we're not going to do it. All right. Also, we have on the consent agenda one thing that I would like to pull out, and that is a junior high trip that is being proposed by Mr. Scott. So if we could go ahead and vote on the consent agenda, Mr. Scott, answer any questions you have or talk about it a little bit, and then we can vote on that as well.
Okay. All right.
Would so move.
All right. Okay, all in favor of everything on the consent agenda except item 2.20, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Did you say aye? Did you vote yes?
Yes.
No.
I didn't see it.
Sandy's doing it. Okay, motion carries. Okay, item 2.20.
Okay, Mr. Scott, would you like to just give us a very quick rundown of what you're planning to do?
Thank you. What we would like to do is offer the opportunity for our 8th grade students to participate in a overnight trip, four-night trip to Washington, D.C. to tour the various places and artifacts that we study throughout the year, to put kind of a little bit of reality into what we're actually studying. I've researched numerous different companies throughout the United States and have settled on one out of Angola that Mr. Funston had dealt with in the past. Classic Tours, they've seemed to be, their reputation as well as their willingness to work with us and to get the cost down per student seems to be the best route to go. We'd like to go on leave Thursday night, load the buses Thursday night, May 23rd of Memorial Day weekend, travel overnight on motor coach, arrive Washington, D.C., then Friday morning tour. Then there'll be a 3-day, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all packed with tours of different locations around there, and then load the bus up Sunday night, travel through the night, come home Monday morning.
And the cost for the student?
The cost per student is $606 per student.
Okay, how are the students gonna earn that money? It's up to them.
It is up to them. The companies put together different ideas for fundraising and for the individual students to raise their own funds, but this company does not have any scholarship programs per se. Some of the other companies that we looked at did have scholarship programs, but when you looked at the amount, how much more that the other companies were, even with a full scholarship of $400 would not even, or just come close to the $600 with this company. One of their suggestions that they say that works well is for these students that are looking to raise some money for this is a card that says, instead, in lieu of giving me a Christmas present this year, Grandma, donate to my trip to Washington, D.C. And as far as the handling of the money goes, that is all handled through the company. The school corporation doesn't have to keep track of any of the money or anything.
What about chaperones?
There will be one chaperone for every 10 students of our choosing, and there will be a guide from this company with us during all of our travels on the bus and then all of our tours. And then at night, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., every hall that has a student housed in it has a security guard in that hallway.
Have you looked at any possibilities of assisting, say, a student that comes close but can't get the full amount? Have you looked at other options to assist that student financially to meet that goal to go? Or I know it's early, but yeah, I'd hate to see a kid be deprived because financially they couldn't afford it, but at the same time who's worked hard to accumulate X number of dollars and then come up a little bit short or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of civic organizations, Optimist Club sitting here, and Kiwanis and so forth. I'm sure that there'd be a lot of places that you could look. Have you thought of that or looked into that?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay, you might want to do that just to be able to assist somebody that maybe financially can't make it or comes close. So, but I think it's a great idea, and I think the kids would really benefit from it.
Yeah, looking at the itinerary, it looks like you're gonna go hit all the highlights, and it's gonna be an awesome trip.
It is. It's going to be a full 4 days packed.
Yeah. Exhausted. Yeah, and having been on some such trips before, you might want to talk to Brian Ames. He's got a pretty good technique down for making sure the kids stay in their rooms.
Well, that's, excuse me, that's what I liked about this company, saying that they have every door that is a student's door will be visible by a security guard.
That's good. Sounds like fun.
I would move that we approve the trip as presented, and maybe prior to going, maybe you could give us an update maybe of where you're at and how it's progressing, and just so we kind of have an idea of what's going on.
I'd be happy to do that, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bill, if you have anybody that's struggling to get the money, I have yard work that needs to be done about that time. And every year, somebody who needs money for school things comes out and does my yard work for me. And I overpay them, but, you know, I hate to see somebody not go that couldn't afford it.
I will look into that, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay. Item 3.1, ratify master contract.
Yes, well, things have changed. New laws were passed in the General Assembly, not last year, but the year before. And so we had 60 days to start negotiations, and if we weren't done by the end of September, it automatically went to mediation. And if you couldn't get things solved in mediation, it went to binding arbitration. And we both sides agreed that we wanted to make sure that we settled the contract. We did not want mediators or arbitrators telling us what to do here, because this was a big one. Just to give you a review of what we did, we went through the contract and we took everything out of it that's no longer allowed by law. There are a couple things that in the next few months I will be putting into board policy, administrative guidelines. For instance, you can't have prep period in. I don't think anybody wants to deny our teachers a prep period, so we'll have a little something in one of the board administrative guidelines that talks about our philosophy of prep time. There are a few other things, and I'll make sure you know what those are. Then we had to completely rewrite a compensation model, and we had guidelines that we had to use to rewrite the compensation model. And any of us at the table had any idea of what we were going to come up with when we first sat down, but we created a compensation model that has career ladders in it, with the idea that, we got two of our better teachers sitting back there who are now assistant principals, that maybe we could keep people in the classroom a little bit longer if we could create career ladders where they could have some responsibility and leadership, get paid more, didn't necessarily have to go into administration in their first 5 years of teaching. And then finally, when Jesse came, we spent $57,000 on taking from the Jesse teachers to the Plymouth pay cycle. So it was $57,000 more. $80-some thousand more to do the lane changes that we had happen. The last lane change could happen had to happen by June 30th of 2012. And then $260,000 of new money was offered and accepted by Plymouth Education Association. And they chose to put that money into a flat $1,035 raise for all teachers. We have two of the negotiators here. Mrs. Cryer.
We have three.
Three. Mr. McCall. Mrs. Cryer. Mr. Boyer. You guys stand up. Any of you have anything you'd like to say?
Oh, I just kind of would like to emphasize what you talked about. It was challenging. The laws that the state had changed in regard to negotiations did make this a difficult process, but the end product is one that both sides are happy with. So please report that to the board.
And as Mr. McCall, anything, you and I have been doing this longer than anybody else.
Longer than I want to think about. No, considering where we had to start from and had only 2 months to accomplish what we needed to accomplish, there were times in August I was very worried that we'd be able to pull that off. And I thought both sides represented themselves very well, and the end process agreement floor couldn't be better.
Mr. Boyer?
I just would echo what they said. I was glad to work with all of you, and I think we came up with something we can all be proud of. I think it's something a lot of other school corporations would look at and might be interested in themselves.
So we can sell it. Throughout the process, we tried to keep the win-win philosophy out there and prevalent. Both sides did that. There was give and take. There was great discussion. And like I said, very happy with what we ended up with, and we were able to do it in the time period that they've given us. If you have any questions, I'd certainly be willing to answer them. If not, I would recommend that we adopt the new contract and the salary increase for the teachers.
I would just issue my comments to the PEA and our administrative team and congratulate them both for a job well done. I think Plymouth has always been a leader, and I certainly commend our teachers. They do a great job. And therefore, I would move we ratify the contract.
Second.
Any
Just a
discussion?
comment though, while we've got a second. I was able to say that on a few of the meetings at the end, and just reiterate that it was a very daunting task with the state law and all that, but I'd like to tell the teachers committee, negotiation committee, it was successful because of the working cooperation and the attitude and the cooperation that was done during the negotiations, and we came out very successful for both sides. And so I'd just like to personally thank the teachers for all their hard work and effort.
Thanks. All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, no. All right, motion carries.
And we've made a decision on when we're going to be able to get the pay out there.
October 19th.
October 19th. In November, I will come back with a recommendation for administrative pay. And in December, we will come with a recommendation for classified increases.
All right. Item 3.2, enrollment report.
Okay. Well, Yeah, the count day was September the 12th, and I've given you a rundown. We had a few schools that are up, and a few schools that are down, but the nice thing is we had great enrollment in kindergarten, and so that's one of the things you look at is your kindergarten, because that sets the tone for that class. We're up 26 students from last year's count day. There will be 2 count days this year. One was September 12th, one will be in February, but the February is just to learn about how much do schools change over the year. I think there are some legislators out there who have gotten the opinion that after count day we start kicking kids out, and that is not the case. So we'll do our best to make sure that we can continue with 1 count day in the future. That would be difficult.
So the compensation from the state is based on this count day, and it
Yes.
won't change with February?
That's correct. This year it won't.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, there are very few schools in the state right now who are making this kind of report to their board that we're up. It's 26 students, but, everybody I talked to, we're down 50, we're down 100, South Bend was down 600, so, I think that's a testament to all of every staff member that works at our school. People like to come to Plymouth schools.
You don't need a motion on that, right?
No.
Carol has a question.
Carol?
What is that number again?
3,666.
Is that final yet?
No. Sorry, Kim's still done with this, you.
Yeah, there's still people arguing over.
Okay.
Yeah. We find that some of the larger schools really don't know if the kids are in their school or not.
Yes, that's.
They argue that, they have them and they're sitting in our desk and have been since the beginning of the year, but I won't mention any names of schools.
Roy, are we getting close to 5A? Hopefully not.
Yes.
That's what I was afraid of.
All right. Any other questions? All right, item 3.3, approve superintendent's evaluation model.
Yeah, the Indiana Association of Superintendents and the ISBA put their heads together to come up with a tool that would meet the code for evaluation model. And the board looked at that evaluation model today in executive session, and I think they have a recommendation.
Move the evaluation model be approved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, again, this is all new, like everything else, so we'll find out.
I will put a copy of the evaluation on the website. Want to make sure that everybody knows that mine is as rigorous as anyone else's. It's 9 or 10 pages long.
Yeah, I have it here.
But anyway, all that information will be on the website in the near future. So thought it was, we all have new rigorous evaluations, and there was absolutely no doubt from this superintendent or the board that mine should follow suit.
Yeah, and I think the intent is that it'll make us all better for it. And we're required to notify DOE of the tool that we chose by October 15th. So we're well within the guidelines of that. All right, all in favor say aye. Motion carries. Item 3.4, report on athletic council and athletic department. Mr. Benj?
You go first.
Yep.
Or Mr. Condon? Either or?
Okay, I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to again share and review the current status of athletics at Plymouth High School. We started this about 5 years ago, and we looked at the variables that would affect our statistics, and basically I'm just going to give you an overview of those categories. In the first slide, we have the number of athletes that participate in the sports at Plymouth High School. 2011-12, 635 student athletes at Plymouth High School out of our school enrollment. Major emphasis is a philosophy on multi-sport participation. You know, we have to do that since we're currently, well, we may move second smallest school in the NLC, but we really do stress multi-sport participation. If you notice, that number is the smallest number of the 5 years that we have on here. Overall, pretty consistent. Our senior class last year was among the smallest that I can remember in recent memory as far as athletes at Plymouth High School. The fall, we had 9 sports, 21 teams. Our biggest participant number was in football. We had 91. Our smallest was girls golf with 12. In the winter, we had our largest team was 46 in wrestling, and the smallest number were 10 girls swimmers. And then in the spring, we had 39 in boys track, and our smallest number in boys golf at 16. Did notice a drop, but I think I told you this last year from 2 years ago statistics. We had 65% of our kids that were multi-sport athletes, at least 2 sports. And now that statistic has dropped down to 52%. So there's a trend that it's not going up, and my goal would be not to see that drop below 50%. There's a lot of factors involved in that, but I think we offer a good product, and our kids are actively engaged in athletics as a good representation. Questions? Okay, next slide. We have a number of contests, 784 last year. Again, the IHSA dictates the number of contests that we can participate in, considering our home and away status of 50%. That's an ideal, but again, we don't always reach that ideal 50% home and 50% away because of building events. We try to reschedule, working around other venues that other departments that offer. We do reschedule the majority of our indoor events that are canceled due to weather, but outdoors we're really packed in for time in June. Rescheduling those are sometimes a challenge, and we do not always reschedule those till the end of May. We print a hard copy of our schedules every 2 months in advance. We schedule 1 to 6 years in advance. I just hired a football crew today in 2018. I hope they're still there in 2018, considering how they look this year. Anyway, I have the 784 contest. Some of those are very busy nights again, 5+ events, not even considering some of the Lincoln Junior High schools that are over at our place. And it's common for us to have 10+ events on a weekend. It's very, very common to host 10+ home and away on a Saturday. So number of contests is what it is. It's pretty consistent with past years. Next one, I hope it's the GPAs. There it is. Our athletic GPA was 8.58. Went up over the last 3 years, going back to 07, 08. Very consistent, consistently higher than our non-athletes at Plymouth High School. Basically, those are a B average versus a C average for our non-athletes. Again, in the fall, I throw this out here because I think our teams do take pride in their GPAs. Our girls golf team last year was 9.7, so they've had that for about 5 years in a row. Our boys soccer team was the lowest GPA at 7.5. In the winter, our high GPA was girls basketball at 9.5. The low was wrestling at 7.2. In the spring, our girls tennis team, they won this for about 10 years in a row. At 10.3 GPA versus the boys track team at 7.7. The lows are still much higher than our non-athletes, and that's what I want to point out from the slide. Questions? Okay. Next one gets finances. Our receipts were $402,000, biggest receipts that we've had in the history of our school. Our expenses were $417,000. I go through the receipts quickly. On the fall side, our revenue was up significantly last fall. We had $6 season ticket prices for all our home football games, which is a $1 increase. So we were pleased. Football had a very good fundraising season with their fish fry and their radio auction. We had the Drive to Your School program with Oliver Ford and Country Auto. The Booster Plymouth Athletic Booster Club consistently gives us those nice donations of 3 payments of $6,000. And the Women's Big Red Open was a contributor last fall. Winter, our finances, our revenue was up slightly in boys and girls basketball. Boys won 16 games, and that helped. One of the things that I see as a trend, we just don't have season ticket holders in this day and age that refill those seats with season ticket people on a consistent basis. It's a real struggle to fill that downstairs seating section now. Now, when I say that, winning helps fill those seats, and we'll see if that's a continued trend this year. Girls basketball had an increase last year, so that was good. Less fundraising for our wreaths last winter, and overall we had a very slight increase in income. In the spring, our baseball, softball concessions were all down as far as finances are concerned and revenue. Spring sports card fundraiser that I do with all our teams, that was down about 15%. The only thing that did offset that was our spring fish fry and baseball. That was a nice total. Packet money is consistent as far as what we do with our student athletes and their parents. Our ad board payments are over $25,000 since 2006, so I'm pleased with the partnership that we have with our ad vendor. We still have 50-plus businesses that donate to us. Our 2 biggest contributors, private contributors, one was $18,000 and one was $10,000, so that details our receipts. Our vending was way down and concessions were down last year. So expenses on that side, I can tell you in a nutshell, we had 9 sports teams that we did uniform purchases for last year, which is a record number of uniform purchases. We did remodel our boys basketball office and our boys and girls basketball team room at the cost of about $10,000. We did kick in $3,500 for the floor maintenance in the main gym for the first time ever. Spring, we had some hits in baseball. We put in about $5,000 in field improvements this last year. So that entails why we're $417,000 versus our income of $402,000. Questions on that side?
Roy,
Yeah.
when your expenses exceed your receipts, do you have a rainy day fund, or does the high school principal bail you out, or
It's
what?
coming up in the second slide. Be patient. It's coming up.
Okay.
Show you where we're at here. That slide after this one. Our tournament finances, all our tournament finances are based on either entry fees or gate fees, and we host a tremendous number, and I say tremendous because it is a large number of tournaments. I could go through each of these if you want me to. If not, just trust me, they're the same tournaments that we've always hosted, except boys and girls swim relays. This year we will not host, but all those are significant revenue. It's revenue that goes in the books and out of the books, typically within a 2-week period. We hosted boys basketball regional, and I think $20,000 go in, $20,000 goes out. So it looks like, well, I think we have a lot of money rolling through, but really that's money that's just washed one in and out the other. Expenses this year went for officials, awards, worker pay, transportation. Those costs are all just incrementally going up. Small, but they're there. And the balance that we had as far as our athletic tournament account, we had $8,500 that in June 30th we rolled over into the general fund, which we have to do by State Board of Accounts law, and that's shown as an expense. So we had an $8,500 profit from our tournaments that was rolled over in the general account. Okay, this next page is Larry's answer. We did put about $9,100 in savings last year. I had to take out $25,000 at the end of the year to finish the school year. That's the first time that Mary Beth and I have been together a lot of years. It's the first time we took money out of savings to complete a school year. And my answer to that is 9 sets of uniforms and remodeling that office. and to have the money that we have in checking and savings and our CD totals. We've got $212,000 on cash in hand. Our CDs are a whopping 0.5% growing for us. So that's our rainy day fund, Larry. Those CDs are there. Simply put, yeah, we did spend $15,000 more than we took in last year. But overall, I think our athletic account's very healthy. I think it's really, in talking to our NLCADs, they're very envious. I don't give them too much information. We take care of what we need. We don't always get what we want. I mean, I'd love to have a new ticket building in football, but I don't see that as an immediate future. So, questions?
I'll just compliment you and Mary Beth. You're right, not too many athletic departments can show a plus like that. And you guys are to be commended on the job you do. That's fantastic.
We can't do what the federal government does and print money every year, so we'll have to make sure that we are in line with our needs and wants. Next slide. Bruce, you're doing great. All conference, all state, academic, all state. We thought we'd do a new statistic this year to just overview what the positives are going on, and sometimes those are overlooked when we do it at the end of the year. 20 all conference, and you can see those listed, and we're going to start keeping track of that on a consistent basis.
You missed a slide, code of conduct.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's.
Maybe you did that on purpose.
Yeah, that's a fun topic. We did go back past 5 years because I think it's important to see where we've been in the past and see where we're at now. We had 16 code of conduct violations in 11 and 12. For those, we had 6 marijuana, 4 tobacco, 4 alcohol, and 4 other. Probably don't want to go into the other too much, but that's pretty consistent with previous years. I think that random drug testing is a very positive thing for us. I firmly believe if we didn't have random drug testing, our statistics would be much higher. It kind of was given proof back in 2003-04 when we had 21 after the 2 years that we did not have drug testing. Questions?
I agree. It's a definite plus.
Okay, last one, we did that one. Event supervision, those individuals listed there were very instrumental in helping us in athletics last year. I look at our administrative team at Plymouth High School, Mr. Conn, Mr. Olson, Mr. Hartley, and Amy Porteous. They've really stepped up and filled those busy nights with a set of eyes, and not just a set of eyes, but a presence that our kids and our visiting students and staff realize are on site for available help. And that's it's not that way in the NLC at every school. You have to go search and find somebody who's an administrator when there's an issue. So I'm very pleased that we have that help. Wish I had more help in the summer, but it is what it is. So in the summer, it becomes a very busy time for us also. Last slide, my favorite one, transportation. I put this one in just so everybody realizes transportation costs have gone up. Back in 9 and 10, it was $7,900. 10 and 11, we had $9,700. This past year, we were up to over $11,000. And those are broken down by travel and the number of teams that participate. We try to look at summer as a future issue. All our summer transportation are paid by kids and their parents, which I had real reservations about 3 or 4 years ago, and it really has not been a bad thing. I haven't had too many issues at all about getting that money. Any questions?
Well, I will say that I've gotten several requests from the superintendent's line in the last 2 weeks about, how many are charging extracurriculars for all transportation. And I don't say that because we're going to do it, but I do say that because if you got your tax statement, you know that the assessed valuations of homes went down, the assessed valuation of land went up, and if that balance is okay, then there won't be an issue. If it doesn't balance, then that means less assessed valuation to create the levy. and we still pay transportation costs with that transportation levy. Now, our first, our first priority will always be to get kids to and from school. When we get to the point where that levy has fallen off to the point where we can just barely do that, then we'll need to look at it. But I'll keep everybody updated on that, so we know. I know that's not a subject any of us want, but I thought it was interesting. I've been getting those messages. So there's some schools that have already reached that point with their levy.
Any other questions? Carol?
I ask it every year, I'm so sorry, I can't remember. The 635 athletes, is that 635 individuals?
No,
Somebody's
some of those kids could be counted twice as two-sport athletes. When you break that down into a reasonable figure, you can say a third of our student body are athletes.
Thank you so much.
Good report. Thank you, Roy.
What do you think contributes to the trend in reduced number of participants in the athletics?
I don't think we have when you look at last year's senior class, it was a small senior class, just like you was talking about a large kindergarten class. Our goal is to keep those kids involved in as many activities as possible. We hope that athletics is one of those. I mean, I think one of the factors that I find are club sports, AAU programs, elite programs that draw kids out, and they tell those kids, hey, you can only be a senior sport kid. When in reality, they put all their eggs in one basket, and sometimes they're disappointed.
That's what I wondered. I wondered if there was competition from other outside school athletic programs.
I would say that we have a good product, and winning creates everybody's excited when we win, and when we're not winning, it is what it is. And that's one of the reasons we don't mention statistics about winning and losing in the report. But we do want to look at the NLC situation as far as the All-Sports Trophy. We did not have a good year last year. We were down at the bottom of the NLC for the first time since I've been here. And that's a trend that I've seen come full circle over the course of 15 years. You know, kind of what goes around comes around. We'd like for it to come around pretty quick. Beating Concord last Friday was a real step in that direction. So.
Well, and I do commend you, because I, as the parent of two students who were three-sport athletes, it's a lot of hard work, and I saw firsthand how hard you work at it, and it really benefited my kids, and I think it benefits all the kids who participate. And please keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roy.
Okay. Jim?
I'll just give you a real quick overview on the Athletic Council and a formal report. We continue to facilitate and oversee, be a sounding board for athletics from the primary level up to high school. We met twice last year. We're scheduling our first meeting for later October for this year. We didn't have any major issues last year, which was really nice. We were pretty busy the years prior to that. As you recall, some of the prominent things that group's accomplished is facilitating the reinception of interscholastic athletics at the primary level in place of intramurals. We've helped Roy and the other athletic directors coordinate a common goal, more on a K-12 basis for interscholastic competition in general. We've reviewed and revised the athletic code of conduct over the past couple of years, and that's scheduled to be revisited this year. We've heard suggestions from the community about retiring jerseys, recognizing Hall of Fame nominees, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's been a good activity. I think it's provided Roy with a sounding board to take his thoughts, suggestions to, and give feedback, and we'll continue to do the best we can with that. We do have representation from every building, administration, as well as the athletic directors. We have some parents on there. We have a board member on there, Mr. Samuelson. So I think it's been a success, and we'll continue to keep working on it. Good.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Moving on, item 3.5, report on technology.
He's sitting right there.
Is that Mr.
Johnson? Okay, I'm gonna try it. Man both. Good evening, all. I was trying to think how many years I've actually come up and given a technology report, and I think this is my third or fourth. I'm not positive. I think it might be my fourth. Anyway, along those, I'll say 4 years, I have stood up here and I've said, we've talked about devices, and we've talked about one-to-one, and we've talked about infrastructure and wireless and all that fun stuff. So rather than bore the room to sleep tonight, I have decided that I want to show you some fun stuff. So instead of telling you, we're supporting over 4,000 computers and 20 servers and 200 access points, blah, 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 I'm going to show you some fun stuff, and I'm really glad that there's some members in the audience. You'll know who you are in a few minutes when I show you my presentation that can help me along the way. So the culmination of this report is the fact that Plymouth Schools right now is truly a one-to-one school. It's taken us a while, but I can honestly say that every student under corporation right now has a device that they can use with them at any point in the day, in any period, in any location. So that's awesome, and I think that deserves a round of applause for everybody involved because it has been a lot of work. That was rhetorical. I really didn't want to round of applause. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I picked four quick things just to showcase tonight. I want to show you what we're doing with everything that we worked hard to obtain in the last few years. And thankfully, I can't see my mouse when I'm looking at it. We had technology glitches along the way. All right, there we go. Maybe. Yeah. Mr. Boyer sitting in the back. He did not know that I picked his blog to show you, so that's kind of exciting. So I'll jump over real quick. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I just kind of want to give you an idea of what some of our teachers are doing right now. Mr. Boyer, do you have a preference? Can I show angle bisectors?
Oh, you can show anything.
I just want to show you how.
As long as I'm not wearing a pirate costume.
No, there's no pirate costume. Oh, I think I got it muted.
First of all, I see that these two angles, these two little angles are congruent. That means CF is an angle bisector. And we need to know that if we're going to use the angle bisector theorem. Now, if I look at this point...
Okay, that's enough. Not too embarrassing. I just want to give you an idea that this is kind of some of the things that the students are seeing. They're going home at night and they're watching these kind of videos and these kind of podcasts that our teachers are doing, and that's more or less their homework. Then they come into class and actually work through examples, and Mr. Boyer can help answer questions at the end if you have any more specific. Can I add one thing to that? Absolutely.
Mr. Boyer gave up Saturday last week to drive to Indianapolis and be part of a flipped learning network all around this teaching method. And he volunteered his time and didn't get paid for it or anything, so I wanted to make sure.
Can you tell how many students are viewing your?
I can't really tell how many are. I do, ask them to take notes, and I test what they've viewed the next day, through this interactive homework program that we have. So I think it's a really good resource for a lot of them. I know last year I had a couple of students that were kind of homebound, and they were able to come to school and still knew everything that I had told the kids that were there every day. So it's a good thing. It's very
You should go to YouTube and listen to, is it still out there, the Delilah on?
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff.
I wasn't going to mention my known one.
No, it's good to listen.
It is. Next thing I want to showcase real quick is Mrs. Curtis, Janice Curtis's blended learning class that she has on My Big Campus. And on My Big Campus, something that you might notice that the kids really seem to enjoy is that it is very Facebook-y. It looks like Facebook. It kind of acts like Facebook. You can have discussions and chats. The nice thing with My Big Campus is everything that the students do inside My Big Campus is all monitored by Lightspeed, which is our content filter. So if the kids get a little rambunctious and use some words that they shouldn't, Lightspeed actually monitors that, and they can send the kids a chat and say, hey, that kind of language isn't allowed here. And eventually, if it gets to the point, they can actually disable their accounts and notify us and the principals, and we can take discipline action. But very Facebooky, and that's really what the kids like to see. And speaking of Facebook, Mr. Olson is next with the School of Inquiry's Facebook page. And I just wanted to show you this because everybody knows what Facebook is. And this is a great resource, I think, for the public to see, too, along with the board, that can just go out and see videos of what the current projects are, everything that they're doing. And I think the School of Inquiry is doing a great job to keep this thing updated.
That would be my teachers, not me. They all have access to it.
Yep.
They all have iPads that they are using in the classroom to take videos and take pictures and then uploading them into the Facebook part. So that, I think that's probably been our biggest key to doing that, has been them having that access and that opportunity. So it really is, a great team effort by all of them.
And the last thing I want to show you, I think a couple of board meetings ago we talked about the 180-day one that Mr. Funston has spearheaded. And this, I think, is a really great representation because it gives you more of a corporation-wide snapshot of the things that are going on, because we've got teachers that post, we've got students that have posted, they share videos, they share stories. And I know one of the fun things that just happened this week was this one here. I'm going to show you just a few minutes of this post from a second grade teacher at Jefferson.
All right, well, we appreciate you Skyping with us today. We spent last week studying the desert, and we think you're the desert experts. So we have some questions for you. We'll do our best. All right.
For those that you can't read, it just says these are some of the things that they
I
are in their
learned
Skype.
that a roadrunner runs 20 miles per hour. At night, it gets 80 degrees in the desert. Kids in California said that it rains about 4 inches all year.
And you can go to the 180 blog and watch the full speech. Before I take any questions, I just want to say real quick, Plymouth has come a huge way in the last few years to obtain what we've obtained, and it's not only thanks to Dan, but the decision that the entire corporation and the board has made. And I can honestly say there are probably no other corporations out there that I have found that compare with enrollment that can say we have a device for every kid. There are corporations out there that have one-to-one initiatives, but no one that I found that is absolutely K through 12 with something that the kids can use all the time. And I also want to point out real quick, or say a special thanks. My department, you see me, I know all the time here with technology, but I've got a team that is absolutely outstanding. And I just want to publicly say to them real quick, I've got Dan Schmeltz, I've got Justin Nooner, who is our Apple technician, I've got Ted Fisher, Al Hunter, Kevin Mortensen, Chris Mechanic, and Pulliam. And they do an outstanding job. But honestly, I couldn't do what I'm doing without their support. So publicly thank them. Any questions?
How many new devices did we put in play this fall?
New devices?
Additional to what we had last year.
Well, we went one at Riverside, so that was another 620 MacBooks, and then we bought with some, I'll just say, nonsense funds, we bought about an additional 400 or so iPads for K1.
So we've added about 1,000 devices, and we've done that with the staff and the infrastructure we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need the answer to that. I just wanted to.
Oh, thank you. Any other questions specifically? 10,000?
One more thing. In 2008 and 2009, we went through a long process and created a strategic plan. And at the time, this is one of the parts of that strategic plan. And I know that there were people who thought that that would never happen, but because we included so many people in developing that plan, that that there was such buy-in into it that, and the hard work of Bruce and his staff. Here we are in 2012, and we, you know, we checked that one off of our list. Now, we still have a lot of things to do with making sure that our students and our teachers continue to learn how to use. 3 years ago, Mrs. Bosick wouldn't have thought of Skyping somebody in California. And somewhere out there is a teacher that in 2 weeks will be Skyping somebody else to break down the walls and bring classrooms or bring experience from all over the world into the schools. And St. Bruce has done a fantastic job of making sure that that part of our strategic plan is taken care of. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you to your entire staff.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Boyer, Mr.
I do have to say, now Roy will like this because you were glad that we beat Concord. I've been to business managers meetings, and Concord happens to be one of the schools that they've asked questions about our one-to-one initiative and how do you do it, because they just, quite frankly, said they just can't afford it. So, and there's lots of schools that call us and ask us about it, and so I know that we're kind of leading the way in that. So, but you'll have to know that Concord just can't.
They built that big ticket booth building. That's why.
That's what I see.
Thanks, Bruce.
Absolutely.
Appreciate all the hard work. All right, item 3.6, report on Riverside and junior high.
We'll go first.
Okay, at Riverside, we continue to have high expectations, and I'm here to report our I-STEP scores for the 11-12 school year. What you'll see on these slides is our total passing is 59%, and the red represents a decrease from the previous year of 2% or more. And as you see in 5th grade in language arts, we went down in all the subgroups. I do want to say that if I were showing you 2010 with that you would see green. So it's going up and down. Okay. We look at math as well. There's the subgroups as well. I'm not going to read every number. Do you have a question? So we'll go on to, this is our math in 5th grade. We're striving for that at the state. Dr. Bennett's given us 90% is what we're striving for, and we're close, but we went down a little bit. And then in 5th grade, our kids take social studies, and we went down in that as well. I am happy to report that when we go to 6th grade, we see green. And I can probably tell you in 2010 to 11, we were seeing red, so it was also it's going up and down. 86% in language arts, and again you see the subgroups. We're happy with the numbers, but we want to do better. And in math, I'm going pretty quickly. If you have these numbers, we're striving for that 90% or more, and we're close. And then our 6th grade students take science, and I think with our Discovery Education, which is kids are doing a lot more reading in science and hands-on, that we're seeing some great gains there as well. Things that we put in place, I think our Achieve 3000 that we implemented last year in 6th grade, and we're happy to say that this year we got the high school license, so our 5th graders were also doing Achieve 3000. We have built-in incentives. We have students that daily are recognized to be state leaders and state point earners, so that's a good thing. We've kind of restructured our intervention program to really focus on those students who need the interventions. I know that with the rise in class groups, target groups, but
I look at an advantage if we can target some kids who really need to, have more intense instruction. That's going to benefit all of us.
I asked this before, but when will we get to see the cohort groupings?
I have those. I asked Mr. Galt to share where those kids were that we have, I have those, or we can show them to you at the point. I've been looking at a lot of data lately because of our school grade and sorting and how do they come up with that. So I got a better handle on what we need to do as far as.
Can you just run through the 6th grade cohort and tell us what it would have been?
Sure. Do you want me to? Start in.
That's okay. That's okay. I just wondered if if it's something that we can see, like if you email it to us or.
Sure. Sure. Is that what you'd rather just present in the future?
No, this is good too, but obviously you're not comparing the same group of kids from the year before, and to me it's more important to see the growth in those individual kids.
I agree.
Even though I know the state doesn't. But to me.
Well, there's a benefit in looking at both.
I agree.
Anytime you have a class that's over 200 students, you should be able to predict that if a program is running right, you're going to get the same results year after year within 2 or 3 points. Statistically, we know that's true. I haven't seen a lot of it to prove it, but we know that that's what statisticians say. But then cohort growth, it's good to follow them, but for instance, we know that statewide, scores go down 7th grade statewide. So we have to take those things into consideration too as we're looking at cohort growth. So.
Yeah. If I look in language arts from a group that was in 5th grade, and so they both had 86% from 2010 to 11, 11, 12.
What about math?
In math, our 6th graders last year had 89%. The year before had 94%. So that's an area that we definitely need to focus on. And we've started doing more. I think our digits program, much is a little more difficult. Plus, last year, our math teacher feel like we did the diagnostic and they felt the plan that the state gave us was a little bit disconnected. So we went back to predictive for acuity, and we feel better about that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Lincoln Junior High and our test results from spring of 2012. In 7th grade language arts, you can see we went from 2011 71 to 77. That's total. And then the breakout groups, male, female, special education, free and reduced lunch, and paid. All of them were increases from 2011 to 2012. To go to 7th grade math, again, we saw an increase of the amount of total students passing from 79% to 82%, and a decrease amongst the males. It was our decrease in our subgroups, and then that last category in page should be green as well. So, 7th grade social studies, we tested social studies in 7th grade but not 8th grade. Total percent pass went from 73 to 75, and then our subgroups were all green. We saw increases across the board in social studies as well. 8th grade language arts. From 2011 to 12, 3% gain from 71 to 74, and we saw a decrease in our special education population of 1% from 21 to 20%. Okay. And then 8th grade math. Now those numbers there in 2011, as you can recall, are
skewed a little bit because of the issues that we had, but in 2012, we had 75% of our students pass in 8th grade in math, and then they all increased there. What questions do you have regarding that? Again, that is not cohort data, that is AYP data from one year to the next.
Did extremely well, with a lot of green on there.
Yes, yes.
That's a positive.
It is positive. And, I think Dan's leadership in the last couple of years helped immensely. So, good job.
Where do you want to be next year?
Well, I want to get to 80-80. That's right now, of our total population, 79.8% of our students are passing math. We need to get up there into the 80s. And then same language arts, we're about 76% of our students are passing language arts, so we got to get that to 82. So my goals are in the 80s. Can't become 90-90 until we become 80-80. So that is my goal. Good. Or our goal, I should say.
Great. Good job.
Thanks, Reed.
Plymouth High School, the presentation for high schools throughout the state is changing a little bit because for the first time we have a grade that's been assigned at the high school level. If you remember a few years ago, I was fortunate to be a part of a growth committee at the high school. While this doesn't measure true growth, it is a step in the right direction. You're going to see two mini presentations in one. You're going to see our ECA results for English 10 and Algebra 1, and then you're going to see our rating in terms of a letter grade and how it was calculated. Okay, please excuse the red. We just like red. Red means good on this presentation. So on the ECA English 10 performance graph, you can see that in 2011, our students scored a passing rate of 77% on their English 10 ECA. We improved to 83% last year. Algebra 1 ECA performance rose from 88.6% passing to 91.6% passing. Graduation rate, as you know, 2 years ago we got dinged on that. That was the reason why we received a grade of C as a high school in spite of the fact that we passed everything else. So this was a huge effort on behalf of our teachers and our counseling department. Our graduation rate rose from 84.7% to in the 2009-10 cohort to 88.6, and I also want to point out that that's going to go even higher. The Department of Education allows students in the most recent cohort up until October 1st of the following school year to complete their graduation requirements, and if they do so, then those numbers are added on to that cohort score. And I won't give you an exact number, but we've had a number of students who have come back for a 5th year, and they have completed their graduation requirements. So we're going to see some growth in that official number before that goes out. Let's talk about letter grade that we receive and how it's calculated. So you know high schools now receive a letter grade of A through F, and these are the components of that. First of all, our ECA results, and those are taken from Algebra 1 and English 10. First of all, the cohort results, which I just showed you. Second, and this is new, there's a multiplier effect. And the multiplier effect is inclusive of two things. It's a bump up, an opportunity to get a bump. And the first one is that for the first time, we compare a cohort's scores on their 10th grade ECAs with their 8th grade I-STEP. And if you show growth, then you get a bump up on your score. Second is the ECA improvement made prior to 12th grade. Now this was a result of that growth committee that I spoke of, this last bulleted item. We talked about the fact that we felt that keeping kids in school was significant, even though they had struggled or failed. And that if schools are successful at keeping students in school, and they eventually experience success on those graduation qualifying exams, then shouldn't we be rewarded in some capacity for that? So for the first time, you get a bump up, a multiplier effect, for those students who initially fail their ECA, but stay at it and stay at it, and the remediation efforts and the efforts of the students proved beneficial, and they eventually passed before 12th grade. The next thing is the graduation rate, which we talked about. And then the new one is college and career readiness. And I appeared before you last year to introduce you to this concept of what college and career readiness is. And this is how it's calculated. Schools receive another bump up, a score, based on the percentage of graduates who receive at least one of the following. It doesn't have to be all three. It can be any one of the following. First one, any student who graduates with 3 or more college credits, which I'm going to refer to as dual credits. Second, any student who receives a passing score, which is either a 3, a 4, or a 5 on an AP exam. And universities in the state of Indiana now are compelled to accept those scores of 3, 4, or 5 for college credit. And then third is industry certification. And that would be given for such things as internships, etc. So the requirement was, and my colleagues have referred to the goal on behalf of the state superintendent of 90-90. For the high school, it's 90-25-90. And the goal for each high school in the state is that at least 1/4 of all the students in each cohort will graduate with one of those 3 things. So, next slide. Plymouth High School got an A. We were in excess of 30% of our students who were in last year's graduating class earned at least one of those 3 requirements for college and career readiness, and that becomes a prominent goal right now. We're currently engaged in talks with some universities to form partnerships for an early college program and other ways that we can creatively give them opportunities to earn college credit at a greatly reduced cost while they're still living at home. Questions?
Job well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Great fact. Good students, good families. Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Appreciate your work. Okay. Item 3.7, report on GED and adult basic education program. Sherman?
Good evening, everyone. Well, it's a pleasure to be here to talk about our program. Just listening about all this expertise. I think Plymouth Adult Ed has really grown too, along with the school system. We're actually identifying the needs of our kids in school, their parents and their family needs. So hopefully they'll be a good role model for their kids in school not to stay in school. So I just like to start with that note. Looking back at the last program year, we had 173 students enrolled. To be enrolled, we had to get at least 12 hours of class time. And that included 158 that were GED track, 15 was ESL. Kind of give you a picture of our students. They come in pretty low grade level. 31% were below 6th grade level, 33 were below 9th grade. So ideally, the other part were at high school level, made it a little easier track to get the GED. The age ranges, we had 28% 16 to 18, and that is awfully young. But to get another picture of it, we have a lot of students that were homeschooled. We had a lot more Amish, Mennonite families join our program. And so, for them, they needed a GED for employment. They're working outside of their family farms and stuff. So it's not all, kids dropouts. It's, and then, and the range goes up. We are serving, pretty equal of all the age ranges, with the lowest being 45 plus. We're proud to say we had 56 GED graduates. This year in June, we celebrated our graduation at Lincoln Junior High, and we topped the place. We actually outgrew it. We had 35 students participated. We had open, invitation to bring their friends and family, and they did. And we had room, standing room only. So hopefully we might move into the high school auditorium. We just don't know. So, okay. But this year ahead, we're really excited about it. We actually earned 30% increase in funding. And with that, we're planning to do outreach. We're trying to reach all the Marshall County communities. And one thing that we've done different this year is that the students can actually come in and customize their own schedule. we're doing more than just face-to-face classes. We're doing distant learning and an online resource as additional work for them to do. And along with increased funding comes with increased responsibility. We actually earned our funding as to a reimbursement schedule. You know, we're allowed to get so much, and we receive the money back when a student, of course, earns their GED, receives a level gain, and you know, also hits other plateaus in their paths of success, and that's how we earn our funding. And we're part of Region 2, as part of St. Joe, Marshall, of course, Fulton, Kosciuszko, and Elkhart County. And we are the smallest out of the 5. I'm pleased to say that out of the 5, we were right in the middle. We were the 3rd highest, earning our reimbursement. The state goal is 85%. We earn 70% back, which is pretty good for as small as we are. Okay. And then, but we're still, we're still expanding, building up our partnerships. We actually applied for a Marshall County Community Foundation grant to actually, to work with our students that come in below 6th grade level. That is a challenge. We need more time with them. And since our funding is time-based also, we're hoping to start a class at Plymouth Public Library, to address those low-level learners. They'll be able to go to that class, receive tutoring at the library, and they won't be on our hours yet. So hopefully we'll build up their skills and they can participate in the GED class. And so hopefully when we find out about this grant, we'll start a class later this month and be the ICANN, the positive reinforcement. And then I think most have heard that Hearts and Hands has closed out. And so we're hoping to really serve our ENL community. And this year we're back at St. Michael's School. We offer evening classes. We have 3 great teachers that are taking 1 evening each. And we're trying to highlight, identify the needs of our community to see what they want out of our classes. And that, pretty much listed on there is what the students would like to have. Especially with the DREAM Act, I think there's another name for it. We are well aware of the urgency of our young people wanting to get their GED. And so we have to, we created some guidelines and some directives to help them to give that from one place to there. And we're hoping to encourage them to do the GED in English. We also know that's kind of a barrier, so we're looking at different avenues for them. And through the Innovation Grant, which was part of our RFA for this year's Adult Ed grant, we, Plymouth Adult Ed, we're kind of taking the lead on the college readiness. We are going to be preparing our students to pass the AccuPlacer. In order to do that, to go to college at college level classes. We're going to introduce a My Foundations Lab, and that's just a diagnostic tool for college placement requirements. And we're going to be partnering with Ancilla College on this venture. And part of our workforce, we have opportunities to start offering certified trainings, and it's through the Work Indiana grant, through adult education. One of our first steps, part with Plymouth Community Schools, is start a CNC training. This would be a skill-level job for our GED students to go into, from going from unemployment to skilled labor in order to be able to support their families. And we're also looking in partnership with the Skills Center. They have auto technology. Welding is going on there right now, and also the area career, the other adult ed programs. Hoping to start CNA, find one of the local providers and partner with them, and start an IC3, and that's like administrative assistant with computer technology. We're going to partner with South Bend Adult Ed with that. And, I was thinking 10 years ago, I can't believe I've been here that long until I got my 10-year pin. When I first came here, I was a data entry clerk, and I did out-of-school suspension. I still do that, but I do a little bit more now. And the focus, instead of just getting the GED, is definitely get those employment skills. And through that, through partnerships, we do have 2 classes I meet at the Work One Center. And with our partnership with them, they help us with the employment readiness, and they offer free workshops for our students. In our classes, we work on soft skills, and that's what the employers are identifying, that's what they need. They need somebody to come, to work on time, and we expect that in our classes. And with that, we have an attendance policy, which is pretty strict, and we've actually had students leave, but they eventually they do come back, and they are attending classes now. So I think we'll see an increase in our enrollment this year. And then technology. One of our obstacles for our students is that they can't come to class. Most of them still in this day and age don't have their transportation. And that's when we started the online resource. What it is called ITTS and GED Online. And this is for a student that's coming to class, hopefully 6 hours a week, but they can do work at home and it will count towards their hours they need for the GED. And just today, in fact, we started our first enrollment for our distant learning. We're going to be Play-Doh, and it's going to be a directly online class. And these are for people that just cannot come to classes. And another technology move we've made is that with the increased funding, we did buy some iPads. And this is with 2 goals in mind for our parents to be smarter than their kids when it comes to working on these little computers. And also, too, the great employment skills to be able to work the different types of gadgets out there.
Could I ask a question? Is there a reason you went with Play-Doh?
It was something that the state had chosen. I know, we have no that. Yeah, as we kind of were on the coattail on this one. We didn't buy Play-Doh. It was bought as a region. We do have one provider in Elkhart, that's all they do, so. Yeah. So the state still kind of guides us on what we're going to purchase and so forth.
Well, Play-Doh does a nice job, it's just.
Yeah, we have Novanet here, yes. I know. And then, to help our students, build their success, again, with great partnerships. We're very active with United Way and the agencies. We're a great referral base. If we see a need for a student, housing, even from the heating bill, refer them, to the agencies within United Way and vice versa. They identify their clients without education. And then something we're very proud of, we have Bowen Center come into our classroom once a week for all of our classes. And they really work how the students, kind of break down the barriers and give that support they need to be successful. It's just a great partnership that we have. Okay. And retention has been a problem in the past, but we think by sticking to our attendance policy, if you don't come to class, you're out. You have to step out for a while. And I think it's going to really help our retention. We are starting to build up a scholarship fund where GED test fees would be reimbursed. And with this, the students will earn this reimbursement by coming to class, great attendance, obtaining that level gain, and passing the GED test. And they'll pay for the test, and then we will reimburse them for it. So hopefully that would be key to get them in class.
What's the cost of your test?
Oh, my word. Well, right now it's only $70, and I say only. In 2014, the GED test is going to change. It's going to be quite more difficult, I would say. It's going to be workplace-based also, and it's going to be done online, which I think is going to take longer than that to be online. And they're predicting close to 120 for the test, and so that really
scholarship.
Yeah, definitely scholarship, and it might really limit where our students can take the test. That's one of our concerns, because you have to be at a certain test site. So we're looking, maybe our students might have to travel now to South Bend. Last year we were trying to become a test site, and I've hit a brick wall with the state on that. So right now our students are traveling all around, outside of Marshall County. Even Skills Center has a test center, we don't. So they have to go usually to Rochester, and then North Justin, and then Knox now, and Warsaw. Well, that's all I have. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Good report. Thank you.
Okay, item 3.8.
We have Mr. Featherstone here. Just met him today.
We just
I did, I told him he's infamous, I've heard a lot about him, but I've never met him, so.
Well, it's nice to meet you too. Thank you for letting me come and say a few words about United Way. Mr. Pinkerton and I have been making the rounds to all of the various schools and soliciting money. We get up bright and early and go to their faculty meetings and give them a little talk. This year, the United Way goal is $475,000. And the school corporation and the employees have been major contributors to United Way over the years, and we really appreciate that. This year, the United Way has received a matching grant that could get us $42,000, and it is for new gifts. So for every new gift, $1 of new giving, we can get a $1 grant or a match on that. And if we have increases in corporate giving of over $500, we can get a 1-to-1 match on that. If it's less than $500, it'll have to be $1 for every 50 cents. But we're really thrilled with that because that's going to help us in the long run. And we have been hurt by the economy like everybody else. We are very concerned about being good stewards. If we ask people in the community, or Marshall County really, to come up with $475,000, we want to be good stewards of that money. And right now, I can tell you that 8 cents out of every dollar goes for the administration of United Way, which of course means 92 cents goes to help people. But we're trying to do better than that, because this coming year we are starting a program called Cornerstone Partners, where we are asking people to give additional money or new money that will go towards the administration. So then we can go out and say to the people, 100% of all of your giving will go right back to Marshall County people who have a need. And we would be very thrilled if we could get to that 100% mark. There have been questions that come along about, well, how do you use this money? How do you determine where it goes? And that is pretty much the responsibility of the allocations committee to do this. And I can tell you that for the member agencies to get funding, it's a hurdle for them to jump over. Adult basic education could tell you how hard that is. We start out by asking them to fill out a letter of intent, which they're doing currently, and after that we will give them the application forms, which are very detailed, asking budget questions, number of people helped, involvement in other United Way activities. It just goes on and on. It can be up to be about 50 pages of application. So it's not something that you just simply do. Then the allocation committee meets and we have little teams. And we go out and do on-site visits. I've lived in Plymouth for almost my whole life. And I am amazed when I go out and I find out some of the things that are going on in these member agencies. Like Marshall Stark. I knew we were out there, and I was a counselor at the high school, and we had communication. But when I went out there, I thought, my gosh, they do a lot more than what I thought. And so we want to become advocates, so that when all of these little teams come back, and we've got however much money we have, and we're going to divide it, we each represent, or we speak up for the agencies that we have visited. And we can't always give as much as they would like to have, but we do the best we can. And then, of course, at the end, we let everybody know how much money we collected, where it went, and have a little party. Anybody got a question?
I just want everybody to know that Plymouth Community Schools won the trophy for Marshall County Schools last year for giving the most money to United Way. And it's done by school population. So per student, how much we get. Trophies in on the table if anybody wants to look at it.
Well, thank you for your
We're
time.
very proud of that.
So, Mr. Featherstone, are you saying, so say I gave 100 last year, so if I give 200, there's 100 new money?
That's 100 new money, and that could be matched.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, that's good to know. And then you
Now
can
think about the
designate
amount of
where
record
those
keeping
two-
that requires in the office.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm a record keeper.
I know you are.
So I do understand that. So.
Yeah.
And you
we
can
all
designate.
We all have to fill out a new form this year.
Yes.
Yes, it helps you, and it
Yes.
also helps us. I know a lot of people have payroll deduction, it's already set up, but you need to fill out a new form for the new year.
And
Good point.
to get the forms, they contact you or Candy or?
We have them in my office.
Yes, and we are, Larry and I have gone around, we
Individual buildings.
hand them out.
Gonna see Jenny Thursday.
Yep. We'll see you at 7:30 on Thursday morning.
It's a worthy cause. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dick.
You bet.
We're down to the budget.
It's always fun and exciting.
Item 4.1, consider adoption of 2013 budget.
We do this in 3 separate motions. So the first one would be, I gave you a reminder, because it's been a month since our last meeting, on the budget estimates. And this was, we had to advertise this, and the estimated amounts of money that we need to have raised. And then I also attached the comparisons and where the monies, in a nutshell, are being allocated, or where we'd like them allocated, and then the comparisons for what we advertised versus what our final was approved. So I would just ask you to approve the budget, the
General
general
funds
fund,
budget.
debt service, pension debt, and rainy day.
What's that estimated amount, Candy?
Well, the estimated grand total of all, which that would encompass CPF and thus replacement, would be $35,386,204. That's all budget.
That includes the other two.
That includes yes, that includes the other two you will be approving separately, the separate motions as required by law.
I would so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Frank?
Do you have a second?
Reading, sorry.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the general fund?
It's all been published and
It's published.
Yes.
All right.
documented.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
I would ask that you, we get together to give you a background, Dan, Bruce Johnson, myself, and Dave Show, and then we bring in each individual principal to discuss the needs of the buildings and the corporation as a whole, and then we come up with this master plan of the capital projects, and I ask that you approve the capital projects plan for the 2013 budget.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the capital projects fund budget.
So,
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, item 4.3, bus replacement fund budget.
This, I usually have Mr. Scott, who knows everything there is to know about the buses and does research, and we also go on the bid proposal for out on the procurement, so we can get better pricing for buses, which they've finally approved us to do. And Rick has come up with this, and I put it all together to make it look pretty, and I might ask you to approve this bus replacement.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item five, superintendent's remarks.
Yes, 5.1, commitment to students. I think if you walk through the halls of the Plymouth schools, you might see Mr. Singleton, 7th grade social studies class, Skyping with a class in North Korea. Or you might see Mrs. Fossick's 2nd grade class Skyping with a class in California. Both show great examples of how we break down the walls and use technology as a learning tool for our students. 5.2, Karen. We have a group of women from the community who came in with a proposal this year called Blessings in a Backpack. I think we've talked about it before, where they had proposed to send food home in a backpack every week for 100 needy elementary students this year. They've already raised $10,000, which exceeds their goal, and they've been able to expand that to more than 100 elementary students. High expectations. We had 3 schools that had A's this year as a corporation. We were a B, we were 3.37, which is close to an A. And all I can do is tell you we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we have more schools with that rating next year. 5.14 player, New Tech, the National New Tech is visiting on the 19th of October to interview the school, Riverside and Lincoln, to see if they'll be one of the 6 New Tech schools that they offer contracts to. We're busy preparing for that and excited about their visit. 5.5, integrity. Several of us attended the annual Board Docs conference and learned about the need to be more transparent in our community. One of my goals that the board looked at tonight is about being more transparent with the community, and we'll be announcing what that goal is and how we're going to implement it in the months to come. I'm excited about that. 5.6, enjoyment. Last night, I wasn't there, but I heard all about it. The PHS boys soccer team won a thriller. In the first game of the sectionals, it was a double overtime win with a penalty kick. And I've been to some of those games, and they are really exciting. So good luck to all the teams as they enter the sectional. Next board meeting is November the 6th, 2012, but it's election day. Polls close before the meeting starts, so we should be okay. And also, on October the 24th, we have a regional meeting. Make sure you let Sandy know if you're going to be. It's at Christo's. I think she got that information last week, so we need to get that in. That's all I have for the good of the order.
Anybody have any questions for me? All right, item 6.1, audience participation. Does anyone have any questions on any of the agenda items that we discussed? All right, thank you all for coming. Item 7.1, adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.